Hello guys and welcome to part 6 of the ninth grade math course. In this video I'm going to be going over expressions involving absolute value. Before we begin, make sure to watch the other 5 parts of the ninth grade math course. Enough with the intro, let's get started. Absolute value shows up in a lot of real world situations, from measuring distance to understanding differences in temperature. And it's a key concept in algebra. So what is an absolute value? In short, it's a number's distance from 0 on the number line, always positive, no matter which direction you're going. Since distance can't be negative, the absolute value of a number is always positive. Let's look at some quick examples. The absolute value of 7 equals 7. The absolute value of negative 63 equals 63. The absolute value of negative 9.8 is 9.8. And last but not least, the absolute value of 1 over 4 equals 1 over 4. Pro tip, think of absolute value as asking the question, how far is this number from 0? The distance is always positive. Let's plug in values and simplify using absolute value. We'll start with n equals 14, k equals 28, and m equals 9. Okay, so here are 3 examples. Example number 1. The absolute value of n minus 12. We know that n equals 14, so this equals to the absolute value of 14 minus 12. And let's solve here. 14 minus 12 equals 2. So that will be the absolute value of 2. And the absolute value of 2 is going to be 2. Let's move on to example number 2. Negative the absolute value of k plus 10. So k equals 28. So let's rewrite this as negative absolute value of 28 plus 10. And 28 plus 10 equals 38. So it's going to be negative absolute value of 38. Now we know that the absolute value of any number is going to be positive, but in this situation the negative is outside of the absolute value. So our answer is going to be negative 38. Let's move on to the third example. The absolute value of negative m divided by 3 minus 20. So m equals 9, so that will be negative 9. So the absolute value of negative 9 divided by 3 minus 20. So first we have to do the absolute value that's inside the absolute value, which is a negative 9, and the absolute value of negative 9 is 9. So that will give us the absolute value of 9 divided by 3 minus 20. So 9 divided by 3 is 3 minus 20. And 3 minus 20 is 17, negative 17. Negative 17. And the absolute value of negative 17 is 17. So our final answer is 17. Now let's try with these values. Now let's go over 4 examples. So the first one is the absolute value of 2x plus 2 plus 2y. So let's rewrite this as the absolute value of 2 times x equals 2.1, so 2.1 plus z, which equals negative 4.2, negative 4.2 plus 2 times y, which equals 3, so that will give us 2 times 3. So now let's solve. 2 times 2.1 is 4.2 plus negative 4.2 is 0. So the absolute value of 0 equals 0. And 2 times 3 is 6. So 0 plus 6 equals 6. So the answer to this problem is 6. Now let's move on to the next problem. So let me erase this so we can have more room. Okay, so now let's move on. 4a minus the absolute value of 3b plus 2c. So let's rewrite this. 4 times a equals negative 2, so 4 times negative 2 minus the absolute value of 3 times b, which equals negative 3, so 3 times negative 3 plus 2 times c, and c equals 2, so 2 times 2. So now let's solve. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9 plus 2 times 2 is 4, so negative 9 plus 4. And let's solve this as well. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Now negative 9 plus 4 equals negative 5. And the absolute value of negative 5 is 5, which will give us negative 8 minus 5, which equals to negative 13. So our final answer for this problem is negative 13. Now let's move on to the third example. Okay, so the next example says negative to the absolute value of 5a plus c plus to the absolute value of 3y plus 2z. So let's rewrite this as negative absolute value of 5 times a equals negative 2, so 5 times negative 2 plus c, and c equals 2, so plus 2, plus the absolute value of 3 times y, and y equals 3 as well, so 3 times 3 plus 2z, and z equals negative 4.2, so that will be 2 times negative 4.2. Now let's solve. So 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Negative 10 plus 2 equals negative 8. And that will remain negative 8 because even though the absolute value of negative 8 is 8, we have a negative in front of the absolute value. So that will be negative 8 plus, let's solve this side. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2 times negative 4.2, which will be negative 8.4. And 9 plus negative 8.4 is 0.6. And the absolute value of 0.6 is 0.6. So negative 8 plus 0.6. And the answer to this is negative 7.4. Okay, so now this is the last example, and after this example will be your practice problem. So it says the absolute value of 4abc, and let's rewrite this. So it's going to be the absolute value of 4 times a, and a equals negative 2. So 4 times negative 2 times b, which is equals to negative 3, times c, and c equals 2. So now we have to solve. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 3 equals 24. And 24 times 2 equals 48. Here are the practice problems for you guys to try. Pause the video, and once you're finished, unpause. So let's solve. The absolute value of 4 times b minus 2 times c plus y. So let's rewrite this as 4 times, well, the absolute value of 4 times negative 3 minus 2 times c equals 2, so 2, and plus 3. So now let's solve. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, minus 2 times 2 is 4, and negative 12 minus 4 equals negative 16, and the absolute value of negative 16 is 16, so 16 plus 3 equals 19. So if you got this correct, drop a comment below. Alright guys, that was the end of the video, and I'll see you in part 7.